A battery-powered multifunctional drive like the MAKITA DUX18Z is definitely a pretty nice tool, because with one device and multiple attachments, you can handle dozens of tasks, such as a battery-powered gas trimmer, edge trimmer, hedge trimmer, pole pruner, and so on. As you can see, the range of tasks is almost unlimited here. However, the downside is that such a device, especially with the respective attachment, is not necessarily very handy. And that might change now because Makita has a new device on the market, namely a cordless multifunctional drive in the 18-volt format. Specifically, today we're talking about the 18-volt Makita cordless multifunctional drive in conjunction with the brush cutter or grass trimmer attachment, namely the DUX18. And this very piece of equipment is what we'll take a closer look at in the video today. I'm excited to see what we can really expect here. So, I'd say let's get started right away. If you haven't already, definitely subscribe to this channel quickly and activate the bell so you don't miss any more videos. You can find the current prices down in the video description. Thank you for your support, and let's get started after the intro. So today in the test is the 18-volt Makita multifunctional drive, the 18DUX, in conjunction with the brush cutter attachment. I suggest we start right away with the delivery contents. Let's see what all is included here. And from up there, I would say the box contents already look pretty good. There is definitely quite a bit of accessories included here, just like with the 36-volt model. Starting here, of course, with the typical paperwork, namely the user manual, safety instructions, warranty conditions. Next, we see the grass trimmer attachment for the 18-volt battery multifunctional drive. Definitely nice and handy and not too heavy. Next, we see here again, directly packed, the protective cover for the battery multifunctional drive. Honestly, it looks just like the one from the DUR190, which I've also extensively reviewed before. If you haven't seen this trimmer video yet, definitely check it out. I'll link it to you in the info card at the top right. Immediately after that, on the left side, we see the typical jute bag or transport bag from Makita. From this bag, we now get all the small accessories, such as the round handle and, of course, this mini handle here shouldn't be missing. Next, we have the spool for the grass trimmer attachment, which, as you can see, already comes with the line pre-installed. Then, we have this small bag with screws, accessories, and everything we need to mount the handle. Also included in the bag is a carrying strap. And finally, what can't be missing? Clearly, the actual battery multifunctional drive, because otherwise, all the accessories would make little sense. So here it is, the good piece, the 18-volt Makita cordless multifunctional drive. And as you can see, the whole unit is definitely very handy and compact. And in terms of weight, I must say it is lighter than I thought. Unfortunately, I can't determine the weight here because I don't have a scale. Nonetheless, I will display the weight separately later on without the batteries. I would say let's start directly with the setup or the assembly of the attachment, starting with the protective cover. As mentioned, from this small bag, there is a bag with tools, and we will need exactly these now for the beginning. From this bag, we first take out these two small screws, then the two metal brackets, and lastly, this Allen key, which we now need. Additionally, on the trimmer attachment, there are two small Allen screws, perfect for the protective cover. You can't go very wrong here. Next, we'll take care of the assembly of the spool. For this, we also need the small Allen key. On the left side of the trimmer attachment, we find a small notch where we insert the Allen key and turn it until it locks the spindle. Only then can we use the included hex socket wrench to loosen the nut. Note, turn to the right to loosen. Lastly, we take the spool and screw it back into the spindle by turning it to the left. Now we move on to the actual battery multifunctional drive. For this, we need the two small Allen screws plus the two metal brackets. On the actual multifunctional drive, we find this small black rubber sleeve with the two nipples on the top and bottom. For this, we now need these two metal brackets. Note, one has two threads, right and left, the other does not. The one with the threads goes on the bottom, and the other one accordingly on top. Next, we take the handlebar grip. As you can see, it has a small plastic nose on one side. This goes to the back towards the user. Attach it and tighten it with the two small screws. The whole process is just as fiddly as with the 36-volt version. However, once you've mounted the handle, it stays on. You can also mount the second small handle if, for example, you want to trim lawn edges. In my case, I don't need it, so I won't attach this handle. And with that, the cordless multifunctional drive is fully assembled, as is the grass trimmer attachment. We can now take a closer look at these two elements. Where do we start? I would say let's start with the most prominent feature of the DUX18, the battery compartment. As we all know, this is an 18-volt device, which means we only need one 18-volt battery, preferably a large one, like a 5 amp-hour battery. In this context, the device is still very light and handy. Additionally, as you can see, the balance point is approximately in the middle. You have to consider that the attachment will be at the front. Also noticeable in black below is the metal protective edge. This has the advantage that if you place the multifunctional drive on the ground, the battery is protected by this metal piece instead of taking the impact directly. Right in front of that is the motor. As you can see, it's a brushless motor from Makita, which provides sufficient speed to the shaft. There are two settings in total, which I will discuss shortly. Overall, this device has Makita's XPT certification. This stands for Extreme Protection Technology, meaning the entire device is protected against dust and splashing water. Right in front, we find the main grip of the DUX18. As you can see, it's extensively rubberized, non-slip, and ergonomically very comfortable in my opinion. Also, as you can see in this position, both control elements, the locking mechanism on the top and the trigger, are easily accessible. In this context, it's also worth mentioning, two speed settings are pre-programmed here, namely Level 1 and Level 2, indicated by these two LEDs. Level 1 provides up to 6,800 RPM, while Level 2 goes up to a maximum of 9,700 RPM. Additionally, I can regulate the speed continuously using the trigger below. This small button also serves to activate the multifunctional drive. Press it once briefly and we see both LEDs light up. The device is activated. We can then switch between the two levels by pressing the button multiple times and hold it down once to turn it off again. You see, the entire operation is really very simple because there's nothing more to set. Additionally, we find this small loop at the front. If you don't want to or can't hold the multifunctional drive all the time, you can use the included shoulder strap. It can be easily clicked in here at the front. Next, we see this small rubber sleeve, just like on the Makita DUX60. It can be adjusted here without any problems, just like the handle, which can also be adjusted and moved in this interval. Depending on how you want to work with this tool, you can easily adjust the handle to your body size or handling preference. As you can see, it's a round handle. Regardless of the position, there are no issues with handling. By the way, to adjust the handle, we also need the small Allen key from before. It's conveniently stored in the handle, making it very practical. At the very front, we find the mechanism or mount for the respective attachments. Here in red is the locking mechanism to release the attachment, and next to it in black, a large lever to secure the attachments. Connect these two elements, and the unit is ready for use. But before we finally move on to the practical test, I'd like to say a few words about the actual brush cutter attachment. It's worth mentioning that it also makes a very solid and high-quality impression. The part is really well made. We have a cutting diameter of a solid 300 millimeters and a sharp edge where the line is automatically shortened. Also visible is that the trimmer head itself is equipped with the tap-and-go mechanism. This means a quick tap and the line automatically extends. From the factory, that's quite a bit of line already loaded. Lastly, the nylon used has a diameter of 2 millimeters. It appears you can also use a thicker line without any issues, as the outlets will definitely accommodate it. So, we've now taken a detailed look at the 18-volt battery multifunctional drive from Makita. I'd say let's move on to the practical test and see what it really has to offer. And now, testing the 18-volt battery multifunctional drive from Makita, the DUX18. As you can see, I've already prepared everything. The lines are shortened, and of course, there's the large 18-volt battery with 5 amp hours, freshly charged for maximum power. Let's see what we can get out of it today. As you can see, I'm on level 2, the highest speed setting on the DUX18. Let's start with the first practical test. As you can see, there's about 100 centimeters of grass, some of it quite dense. I'm curious to see how the device performs here. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. Within a few minutes, it has cleared the entire area quite easily. No overload protection or anything like that kicked in, and the speed remained constant throughout the test. So, in terms of performance, it's definitely sufficient for this lawn area or these weeds. Let's move directly to the extreme test because we want to see what this 18-volt battery multifunctional drive can really do. As you can see, we have a pretty overgrown area with stinging nettles, about 1.5 meters high, which I usually handle with the gas-powered still device, but today I'll be using the 18-volt device from Makita. So this is probably going to be quite interesting, and as you can see, it's making progress, but compared to the previous test, it's a bit slower. It's worth mentioning that in this extreme test, it's not just the relatively tall stinging nettles with thick stalks, which would normally require a thicker cutting line, but you can see there's also a lot of grass underneath, requiring a lot of power. And these are the results. The DUX18 combined with the trimmer attachment is really reaching its limits here. It handled everything effortlessly before, but now it's struggling. This means that the nearly 1.8 meter high nettles are really taxing the multifunctional drive. The power isn't sufficient here. For such applications, you need top-level devices like gas-powered ones or maybe the 36-volt drive. So let's dial it back a notch and focus on slightly lower grass. Even here, it's about 80 centimeters high and extremely dense or matted. I believe the DUX18 shouldn't have any issues here. And that's exactly the case. The DUX18 handles it without any problems. In terms of power, this device is top-notch in my opinion, perfectly adequate for normal to demanding gardens. If I recall the previously reviewed DUX190, the power was significantly less compared to the current DUX18. But also in terms of handling and vibration, the DUX18 is impressive. Especially on the handle, you feel minimal vibrations. So, working with it for extended periods is definitely feasible. So far, so good. A large part of the area is now mowed with the DUX18. Let's check the battery. As mentioned, it's a freshly charged 5 amp hour battery. As you can see, 2 bars are still available. So, the DUX18 does consume a lot of power, but also delivers significantly more performance. And now, a final verdict. Honestly, I have to say I'm quite impressed with the DUX18. It has enough power, is handy, powerful, and extremely versatile, as I can attach any Makita accessories and use them with the DUX18. So, my recommendation for the DUX18 is definitely positive. What do you think of this multifunctional drive, or do you already have experience with it? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'm looking forward to your feedback. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up as always. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to this channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any future videos. You can find the current prices, as usual, in the video description below. Thank you very much for your support. I wish you a great weekend and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care. Goodbye.